Hey guys, hello and welcome to my 7th Bible review. In this one we're going to go with the waterproof Bible. I can see your face Okay guys, so we're going with the waterproof, we're reviewing the waterproof Bible today. I bought it in the, with a cover. So you can buy this one of two ways. You can buy this just in the standard paperback, or you can buy it in the imitation leather cover. Now something that you should know, the imitation leather cover is just a sleeve that goes over top of the paperback. Okay, so you can change out this cover if you want to, or you can add something like it later. The cover includes 3 ribbons. And if we look at this, it says online that it's a sewn binding, and you can see the signatures there, how they've been sewn. But you can also see all that glue on there, and so that's going to be something that we're going to talk about as well. The standard one, if you buy it just without this imitation leather cover, with no cover on it, it does not come with any ribbon. So that's something that's important to know. On the outside, you have the Bardin Marsee Press logo right there with the little frog, and then waterproof Bible, which is their registered trademark. Here we can see on the next page, you can see the little registered trademark. So the first thing that happens is you open up the very first page, and the very first page is there's no blank pages in this. The very first page is the presentation page right there. Okay. And the really interesting thing, this being a waterproof Bible, and the biggest question I'm always asked, and the sad part is I'm not going to be able to show you this, because this does not, it just looks like paper, except maybe we can get it where we get some glare on it, because of the lights. That's one thing I was really worried about. You can see the glare on the cover here. I was worried about the glare here. But Bardin Marsee, the ESV symbol containing the Old and New Testaments, waterproof Bible. And I mean, you can see there is some ghosting here, but it is not, it is very faint. And as I always say, it looks worse on the screen than it does in person. I don't know. So, but one thing that you're probably noticing is, even though this is a sewn binding, it is not staying open. So now I'm in Genesis, and we're still not staying open. So I'm going to flip through about halfway, and you can see, so now we're in Psalms, and even so, it's still not staying open. Because what they did is they made this where it was very rugged, so it has a lot of the glue like a normal glued binding would down there. Down on the base there, you can see all that, right? All that stuff down on the bottom right there is all glue right there. And so that's what's holding all these signatures together. So, and then with this really thick polypropylene, paperish stuff. It's not paper, but this paper stuff, it makes it where it's not. It doesn't act like a normal book. Like a normal book would still have a hard time laying flat, but the pages would lay down flat because of the way paper works. But this, because it's not paper, this doesn't really want to. So that is the first qualm that I would say that I have with it. It is waterproof. It does float, so if you were to drop it in water, it would float. But the first qualm I really have with it is just the fact that it's not really paper, and it doesn't act as such, and so it has a hard time staying open. So it has a hard time when you're reading it. It has a hard time being open. You're going to have to, it's one that you're definitely going to have to hold both sides while you're reading it. It's not one that you're going to be able to lay down so where it just lays flat. I don't know what font face this is, and I've looked at question marks, which is one of the telltale giveaways in some fonts, is the question mark. And of course I opened to a page that doesn't have any question marks on it. But I looked for question marks, and I just couldn't find any information on what the font face is on this. So here's a question mark right here, right there. See, so it's obviously not the Lexicon, which is Crossway's favorite font, but it is a 7-point font. I downloaded this handy dandy, and it actually might be a 7.5. This handy dandy from All Bibles. It's a print size thing. If we look at 7 here, and then we look at the font there, you can see it might actually be a little bit bigger than that 7-point font there. So yeah, and very little ghosting. I mean, as far as the reading experience, except for the font being so small and the book not laying open flat, ghosting is practically unnoticeable on this page. But one of the things that you will run into is you can see this line of glare going up the page right there, because it is plastic, which is essentially what this polypropylene stuff is. I mean, it's the thinnest plastic I've ever held in my entire life. But essentially because it's plastic, it acts like plastic. It's not going to act like paper. I've been told, I'm not one to mark in all of my Bibles, and so you saw that my name was on the presentation page. I did that in ballpoint pen because I read the ballpoint pen, pencil, the dry highlighters work well. I've heard that the gels, anything that floats on the surface, it works fine. So, but as far as gel highlighters, I've heard that those don't work all that great. So like this highlighter would probably work just fine because it floats on the surface, because it needs to be erasable. Never been in a situation where I need to erase a highlight, but there you have it. It's erasable. So it's not. The weird thing is it's not paper. They say it's probably somewhere between 61 or 62 GSM thick, which is really thick, which is why with it being such a small font, it still ends up being a really thick Bible. Like typically if you were to open up this size of a Bible, you'd expect a much larger font than what we have in it. Text is small but readable. One of the big things that I've been looking at is just usefulness of these sort of things. For me, and this is a black letter edition. Get into the. All right, you're in the Sermon of the Mount now. So this in a red letter would all be red, but it's black letter. There's the Lord's Prayer, Our Father. So, see, now it's wanting to close on me because I flipped too far. But as far as usefulness is concerned, and that's been the big question with this Bible, is it useful? I mean, yes and no. There's no. Hey, there's a blank page. There's 2 blank pages in the back. It's useful if you live here or you live somewhere where it rains. So if you live in a place that has kind of a monsoon season, or you live in a place where it rains a whole lot, this would be useful to have. You're not going to worry about it getting wet. I mean, in fact, the first Sunday I took it to church, a smoothie tipped over on it, and I put it right under the tap and rinsed it off. Scared my mom out. "What are you doing?" she yelled at me. My wife told her, it's this waterproof, it's this brand new waterproof Bible, it's fine. But I mean, other than that, I mean, or maybe if you want one to take camping with you during the winter or something, it'd be great. But I don't know, it's kind of an eclectic market. It's really a great eclectic market for places like I live, where half the year at least it's raining. And so that's why I bought it, because I wanted to, and I carry Bibles under my arm. I just always have. And so I wanted one that I could carry under my arm, that I wasn't going to worry about it. And so that's what this is. I carry it under my arm. I don't worry about it. It's no big deal. So there's no line matching in it, if you couldn't tell. I'd flip back open here to the Psalms. We can zoom in and see here a little bit that there's no line matching. You can see that this line is between those lines. Yeah, there's no line matching. It's a really dark font, really dark printing, but again, it's really small because they have to be, because of how thick this knot paper is. So, I think that's really all I have to say about it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will answer them the best I can. As far as I bought the ESV, they've had them in the NASB, the King James, NIV in the past. So that is the Waterproof Bible. There's not much to say about this Bible other than the fact that it's really thick. I mean, really thick. And but the font is really small. It is waterproof. It will float. You can get rain on it and not worry about it. Just dry it off afterwards, and it won't crinkle any of these pages. Pages are really tough, but it does not lay flat. Even with a sewn binding, it does not lay flat. Okay, guys. So that was my waterproof Bible. Now that we're in winter, it's the Bible I'm carrying with me pretty much everywhere I go. It rides. Sometimes it rides in the trunk for long periods of time. It's the one that I typically take with me to meeting on Sunday mornings because it's one I don't have to worry about it getting wet. And then that is a worry for me. I like to keep my Bibles as nice as possible, and I do have some Bibles where they have some crinkling because they got some water on the edges. And so just I got this one because of that reason. I mean, it rains for half the year just about here in Oregon where I live. And so I just wanted that Bible that I didn't have to worry about, that I could keep it dry, that I could let it get wet and not worry about it. And so that's what the waterproof Bible is for me. If you live in a rainy area, you go farther north from here, you go to Seattle where it rains even more. It would be definitely a great investment as far as going out to Bible studies and going places. If you carry a Bible with you every day, this would be a great investment to have as far as making sure you have a Bible. If you're like me and you worry about your Bibles getting wet, making sure you have a Bible that you don't have to worry about it getting wet. And so that's it. If you like this video, please go down below and hit the like and subscribe button. And I pray that we're helping you to believe in something better.